everyone, and welcome to another exciting session. So, tell me, have you ever traveled to the place of your dreams? Well, if you haven't, then you should, without any delay, okay? You have to visit your dream place because that is something which will change your life for sure, and that is also theme of discussion, okay? So, shall we learn this poem? When I set out for lioness. When I set out for lioness. So, students, please take page number 105. Have you taken? Yes, page number 105. And when I set out for lioness. Before I tell you more about the poem, let me tell you something about poet. So, the poet is Thomas Hardy and who was born in England on 2nd of June 1840. Okay? And when he was 22, he left for London where he was influenced by the works of other writers of his time. Probably he tried his hand at writing. Okay? And when he was 17, he began his writings. And also, his first novel manuscript, The Poor Man and the Lady, was rejected by several publishers. But a second story, Desperate Remedies, was accepted and published following, okay, which Hardy wrote a number of short stories, poems, and plays for the rest of his life. He was quite prolific during this period, writing around 900 poems on a variety of subjects. Besides being a writer, he also an architect. As a young apprentice architect, he had once visited a Paris to supervise the restoration of a church. On his return from the Paris, people noticed two things about him: a new glow in his eyes and a crumpled piece of paper sticking out of his coat pocket. According to one of his biographers, that paper contained the draft of a poem, and guess what we shall be reading? That very poem inspired by a visit to a place which the poet calls as a lioness. Let us recite the poem once. Okay? Okay, dears. Shall we see the poem? Yes? Yes. Okay. Before telling the explanation, I am giving first, I am reading this poem. Listen carefully. Okay? First, when I set out for Lioness 100 miles away, the rhyme was on the spray and starlight lit my lonesomeness, and starlight lit my lonesomeness when I set out for Lioness 100 miles away. This is the first stanza, and listen to the second stanza. What would be chance at Lioness while I should sojourn there? No prophet does declare, nor did the wisest wizard guess. What would be chance at Lioness while I should sojourn there? When I return from Lioness with magic in my eyes, all marked with mute surmise, my radiance rare and fathomless, when I return from Lioness with magic in my eyes. So, written by who is the poet? Thomas Hardy. Okay. So, what is the explanation? Do you understand anything in this poem? Yes? Yes or no? Very easy poem only. Okay. So, I am giving explanation. Listen carefully. So, this poet Thomas Hardy once visited Paris to supervise the restoration of a church. And on his return, people noticed two things about him. One is there was a new glow in his eyes, and second one is there was also a piece of paper peeping out of his coat pocket. This paper had the draft of the present poem. What is the present poem? When I set out for Lioness. So the poet says that he had gone for the restoration of a church. When he started, he hardly knew that the visit would be so invigorating. It proved to be like visiting Lioness. So if you visit Lioness, what will you think? You people are very scared, right? Like this poet also very invigorating, and it proved to be like visiting Lioness. While visiting that restoration of a church, it was visiting like Lioness. He had left for the Paris all alone on a very cold evening. The Paris was 100 miles away. The foliage was covered with frost. The stars guided his lonesome path. So the only guide is the stars. Okay? And also, he had to stay at the Paris for some time. In that short period, he found something happening to him. It was an inner change which was sudden and unexpected. The poet said that the start of his journey, no one could think of such a change in him. No prophet or no wizard could have guessed that happening there. Okay, that is in second paragraph. No one accept his inner change or expected his inner change, which was very all of a sudden happened. Okay, and what is in third stanza? When the poet returned from the Paris, everyone noticed a glow in his eyes. They didn't speak a word. However, they were impressed by the rare and deep radiance of his eyes. The poem is very insightful piece of work, okay, that tell us how things happened when we least expect them, and that no matter what we plant, there is always another plan for God, okay, which no one can predict. That is true that miracles do happen. Yes, but no one predict what will happen. Understood, dears? I hope you all enjoyed this poem. So, once again I am reading. When I set out for Lioness, 100 miles away, the rime was on the spray, and starlight lit my lonesomeness. So, the star is the only guide, only friend for him. When I set out for Lioness 100 miles away, what would be chance at Lioness? While I should sojourn there, no prophet does declare, nor did the wisest wizard guess. What would be chance at Lioness while I should sojourn there? When I returned from Lioness with magic in my eyes, all marked with mute surmise, my radiance rare and fathomless, when I return from Lioness with magic in my eyes. Okay, dears, I hope you all understood this poem. I hope you all enjoyed too. Is it so? Yes. Okay, dears. If you have any doubts, I will clarify that in our Zoom interaction. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day. Take care.